And I'm sure
Nazda versus Neppie.
And since you cannot change the characters' names, it is essentially going to be down to straight up, who can mash through text more, who can menu in the early game. Because menuing in this game is insane. That the way the field works is essentially almost like a board game.
And good luck to the runners.
Yep. Good luck.
you're gonna need it.
I think they'll be able to manage. I mean,
I'm sure, but RNG is also kind of, well, Kappa.
Yeah, that is true on that one. Though I do have to say, having some of the games, cutscenes actually voice acted is pretty nice. Especially, when they give you the choice of whether or not you want the English or the Japanese voice actors, if I recall.
So it looks like we got Nazeda on the left, and we got Neppie on the right. And we're off.
Now I know, I personally, when I was playing this casually, though trying to speedrun through it for the story notes, I would reset if I didn't have the ice barrier learned by the end of this battle, which is an actual thing. You can still get a skill in. Oh my god, one of them got it and the other one didn't. That's going to affect the price if they want to sell the boots for it.
Already we got a difference. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, because you can actually sell things for a different value, and the shops even have a merchant-based, level, and looks like, yes, they are unequipping items. And trading for stuff, too. Well, as I said, Laura's husband, Pablo, was an elementary school teacher, so kind of nice. And they're removing a lot of the equipment because the less equipment you have, the more speed you have.
And of course, the more speed you have, you probably can get from point A to point B a little bit faster. I mean, that's what speed does, I would hope. Oh, hold on. Looks like we got a battle on Nazeda's side.
I personally have no clue what they were doing at the beginning on that one. But then again, what do I know on that one? But looks like they did decide to move around the characters' positions on the battlefield.
I think Neppie got around that. I think so.
It, as you can see, while one of them is in a battle, the other one is already to the bandits / guards, attacking the prince, which is a forced encounter in the first battle, in the first screen.
Oh yes, Tipsy. We made a comment that there. I think it was actually my compatriot. The menuing is going to be a point here.
Yes. However, that does not mean that, you can't, just skip some of the menuing. I mean, that's part of the run. If you're literally got decent equipment and you've risked the blacksmithing, you could just basically breeze through missions. Now, I wonder, though, if or not they will be doing any side quests just so that way they can get, the extra panels or not. Do you want to explain the panels and the panel growth?
You know what? I think I will let that one go to you because the panel growth, I can explain the levels and how some of them will work, but with how they go to each character, you've played it more than I have.
Well, basically, the way the panel growth works is that whatever actions you do since you have placed a panel, panels in this case are sort of like the sphere grid from FF10, I guess? Where whatever you do, you can actually customize it. Well, when you, complete an actual adventure, aka one of the maps, The game allows you to place exactly one panel for each character based on actions you have done. Each action has a different, panel growth, a panel that it can offer. So say you keep using a dagger, you have a high chance of possibly getting, points towards daggers. Medium chance of, increasing swords. And I forget what the lowest one on that one is, but that's per every skill.
I believe there's also certain ways you can find specialty skill panels, and depending on what color they are, denotes the level. Green is the first one, blue is level 2, pink is 3, orange is 4, and yellow is the 5th level, the highest level you can find.
Yes, that is very true. And there's also negative stat panels, meaning you can give up actions, but they have higher growth rates on some of it. Like, you could use a seal weapons panel, meaning you can't use a certain type of weapon in battle, but it will actually, help raise your stats more. But since there's also bonuses to having certain types of panels near each other, it's, more debatable on that one. And looks like one of them decided to use the continue option, which is during every, map, you have the ability to just save and quit, and then restart. And I guess we wrote it. Look, you'll see here, one chose a seal weapon and one chose, I could not read what the other one is, but it's one of the overworld dungeon things. And now you'll see them picking up some materials, and different types of weapons, and armor, and they will either, they're going into the blacksmith. This is something you might want to explain, because this is for bows.
Oh, the black.
Yep, the blacksmiths.
Now, the blacksmiths are a bit of a tricky wicket, so let me start off with this. Each blacksmith you find in the game and in the story has their own specialty, so you can't get the same exact thing at each blacksmith. Of course, like a real blacksmith, they each have their own specialty items. Give me a moment. I actually have notes here I have to go through because I have like a book of this stuff now.
Yes, and I will also note that looks like they are deciding to not opt to pick up one of the other playable characters in the form of Judy. They're just skipping straight to the next area. And the other one's upgrading punches and one of the overworld abilities. We'll do the best we can here.
Tipsy, literally, I have about 7 pages of notes, 3 pages of written notes, and I have 2 pages of notes right next to me just in case of everything. So yes, we have to go through this. But
I just basically took notes on the story and basically made it all the way through to maybe about halfway through. And that's I'm hoping it was halfway through. Anyway, they're headed towards the next area, which is a tropical village.
One thing that should be stated, though, is really you don't need to get any extra characters to beat the game. You only need really the first 2. However,
yes, that is true.
The counterpoint to that is that's going to be very difficult. So the point is exactly where is the balance? The Lumina Stone quest is very useful, and I'm kind of surprised I don't think either person took it.
No, they did not, and they also chose to not, as I said, pick up Judy, who comes with one of the silver weapons, and even as a casual player, there's a way you can actually make Fairy Silver early on, which is pretty good. It looks like taking a dagger upgrade and another overworld ability for the completing of the map.
Yeah, I think that's Fairy Silver, that's mid to late game. Pretty good. Not quite like highest level, but still, that'll get you far.
Yeah, it got me basically to back to the return to the Prince's Kingdom before I realized, oh yeah, I need to repair this. But then again, having it already means I could take it to a blacksmith that allows me to choose daggers and just repair that with basic stuff. I may lose the abilities, but keeping the high-end weapon damage is still quite useful.
Okay, so let's hypothesize here. Are they going to stick with bows, do you think? Neppie, I think we have the bows. Nazeda, is he using the bow as well?
I'm not sure on that one. I'd have to see him in battle. He's doing pretty well with avoiding them. But I do know that bows are great for distances, and also that, each weapon type has a certain preferred distance. For example, if you would think a dagger you would want to be up close, but not as much. And I see the other one taking the ability for axes and more overworld abilities. And yes, of course, buying more items. And those will be important to actually make new weapons or armor, because the more you have, the better.
And did Nazeda go a different way?
No. One of them is ahead of the other. One of them is on their way, and the other one's already gotten to the forest.
Okay, it just looked like the coloring was different between the two of them.
Oh, that is correct, and I'm pretty sure I know for a fact that basically, yeah, I made it a little bit into there, but probably, maybe 30 minutes into this run.
Oh, you know what? I think I know what was going on. Like, the hue or saturation was probably different between the two of them. It just kind of tricked me.
That is correct, though. I'll tell you, once we get to the, I'll try to help out the best I can with the story and the systems, because, I got up, a little bit far, but only having some of the knowledge of the systems in this game can get you so far.
Hey, you know what? I think everyone kind of understands. We're going to give you the best we can. Right now, I think we can say that Neppie is ahead by distance. Training-wise, it looks like both people are kind of going with the same route of picking their weapons and trying to build off of it. Who's got more points invested and who's getting a better build right now, we can't say. So it's really going to depend on who gets the most out of it right now.
Not only that, but also, how they, whatever the shops give them, because those are random as well.
That is true.
I mean, this game has a lot to offer. It does. Now, Neppie is up to the point where they will get another character that, if I recall correctly, whose name is Michelle? Yes, I think that's what her name was.
Yes, Tipsy, there actually is a story in this. It's not RNG the game.
Not only is there a story, there's actually cutscenes. But,
I'm sorry you feel that way past prediction, but you know what? I hope you feel you come back and you look at some of the other games we have on the stream and you have a good night or a good day or whatever. You have a good time.
Yeah, understandable on that one.
Yeah, this is a game. It either ticks your boxes or it doesn't. So I can understand that.
I mean, it is complex, but it's the whole fact of when you know the game well and you can understand what you have the ability to do in it, you literally can just speedrun through a game that would be like maybe a 10-hour game in under 2. And I know from experience, because I've run FF Mystic Quest, some of those games where it has some RPG element are some of the funnest RPGs to run.
Versus me, who, if I tried speedrunning it, I would probably be in it for like 100 hours, and it would be a complete and total wreck. But it would be funny to watch. Now, it looks like we actually have Nazeda. Did he just get Michelle?
Yes, he did. Which, Michelle, you can talk to her in the town, or you can just get her normally. Now, Michelle is our first character with a gun. Yes, surprisingly, in a fantasy setting, you can have guns.
And with the gun comes a whole other thing. I can go over that right now. Gun parts are a little bit difficult to come by. So you have skills like the quick fix, and there is durability on the guns. So you have to kind of be careful. Gauging that durability, as you can tell, will also help the power of the weapon. It's going to be another thing you need to keep in play. So we'll see how they kind of handle that with Michelle.
That is true. However, even if you don't have, even if it's zero durability, you still have the weapon, so you can technically still take it to a blacksmith and get it repaired.
What happened to just using it as a club?
Well, some weapons you really can't, but I personally wish you could. However, you always have the ability to punch, kick, and throw enemies, which is even kind of funnier when you see them, you know, going up to a gigantic enemy and being able to just throw them normally. But as we have mentioned before, there is a distance factor in this game. Punches and kicks, you want to be closer to the enemy, whereas guns and bows, you want to be further away. Because apparently, you know, shooting a gun or firing an arrow at close range does, you know, not as much damage as being far away and pulling back a lot of power behind it.
You know what I just realized? This is like an RPG version of Risk. It's a very complex system. You have to think about it a lot. Once you do, I mean, you have it down well. But to everyone else, I mean, it's almost impervious to get through unless you have, like, a jackhammer.
Well, that or you have a few things. It looks like Neppie was debating about what skill to go there, because each skill has a different growth rate, you know, that it will get to. And right now, they've just arrived in the one city they were trying to get to. And they are observing a festival.
Okay, so we got Neppie there at 1715.
Yes, and they will most likely be picking up another character in the form of Francis. Plus, you will also meet a person named Basil, who is actually a servant of the royal family.
You know, one thing I always liked, if you look at the, definitely like the art style and the little details, those are the hard parts, especially in RPGs, to really make them shine. Especially the silhouettes. Very hard stuff to make scenes, but well done. And it looks like Nazedal came in, it's about a minute behind.
That is correct, but, you know, especially for a game where the art style is more, excuse me, you know, solid and more closer to, you know, actual individual scenes where you see the characters eat, you know, entire profile, it does actually mean that you have to really have good developed characters and good, you know, an actual very good art style.
Yeah, 1 minute lead. You are correct, Alex. A 1 minute lead at this point isn't much, and considering how really a turn of Lady Luck can give or take away that, it could change very quickly.
That's not all. That's also failing to mention the fact that neither runner has saved to this point, so a death is actually very costly to them right now.
Oh, you're right. I have not seen either one of them save. Ooh.
Even in a verified setting, it would be worth taking at least one backup save here and there.
And how far away are we from the boss?
20 minutes in. Let's see, about 2 hours away, at least according to the estimate.
They probably won't feel like they need to for a while, but anything... I know there's going to be a few difficult fights soon.
And not too difficult if you have the proper equipment or have just been, actually thinking about what you want, which, since they're opting for more speed versus other things, versus defense, they do have the ability to have, more combos going on, which, do you want to explain the combo system?
Honestly, no. A lot of these... I'm sorry, a lot of these systems make me just kind of go, this is where I can have this on like a dissertation of mathematics and just send that into Harvard and just go, this is what I've done with my life, thank you.
That is correct. And what you see now is you're finding out that the enemy wasn't after the prince. They were after his dagger more than anything else. Because why kidnap the heir to a country you've already vanquished and conquered when his heirloom basically has the ability to help you conquer the world? Now you see Laura, trying to figure out what to do, and then you have, the prince coming back to, say, hey, mind coming with me? Want to go back to my kingdom so I can actually find out why these people were after me. To be more precise, my dagger.
How about this? How about if I go over the combo rate? Because I know that's going to actually make a little bit more of a difference, I think.
By all means. But I do have to say, combos, when done properly, are very useful. Because you can set up a combo by just holding an action, and you can hold up to 5 actions. Though it's a lot harder to do that, but once you have, it's very useful. As one of our runners, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name right now, is currently using the blacksmith to make good weapons and abilities. And namely focusing on swords right now.
Fair enough. Alright, so let's start off with combo rate. So, combo rate is shown in the bottom right corner of the battle. Let's say, for example, it's 175%. That's the HP damage, and LP damage will increase by 1.75. I gotta remember to hit the button to talk. I usually talk with my hands.
But also, that's not counting the whole fact of enemies have life points too, so just dropping them to 0 HP won't kill them.
That is true. We have to go through their whole shtick too, but give me a moment, we'll get there.
Well, that is true. And Francis, the fourth person they picked up, is also a armsman of Basil's family. And you will notice that he is also said to keep tabs on the prince for his master. He's not technically spying, but he technically is spying.
Yeah, some say potato, some say potato. I mean... Yeah.
And if you notice, they are using something called diplomacy, at least our player on the left is, which allows you to skip battles just by basically talking to a monster and saying, hey, go away, please. Though sometimes they're also using an ability called Aura, which essentially lowers your presence and allows you to sneak by more enemies.
Now, I don't think Aura Aura doesn't give XP, but I don't think Diplomacy does either, if memory serves. Is that correct?
It does give EXP. At least to try to grow panels. It does. It has an actual thing that it does influence. Almost everything in this game actually influences other things in various ways.
Why does that not surprise me?
Well, hey, getting hit by the same enemy, several times could actually cause you to have a phobia in this game.
Oh, the phobia blocks. Oh. Yeah. Should we just... There's... How long is this race? Because, I mean, I think we're going to need about 8 hours to do a full thing on this.
Well, I've made sure everybody that actually has asked me about this has clearly seen exactly the system guide for this. And a lot of, how is this so long? But, yet just sitting down and playing it, just knowing a little bit of the systems, you get so much out of the game. It's so much more about it. I mean, it took me about, 2.5 hours the first time, I was just trying to get through the first 2 areas of the game. And the only reason why I haven't gotten further is just because of lack of time. Then again, the more I understood about it, the faster I could just, speed through some of the battles. It's like, okay, I don't need this, I can just keep going.
Rockowin in chat is getting 2 points to Wordsmith right there, and I do appreciate that.
Yes, thank you very much on that one.
Honestly, when you look at it, many... Yeah, Alec, that's pretty much my sentiment on it.
Well, it's not that it's a bad game, it's just that, literally, it's a game that once you know what you're doing, it literally can be, quite easy to, pick up. And by that I mean, literally, it's fun, and looks like one of them missed a diplomacy check, so instead of getting a, okay, you just failed, it got an, okay, you crit failed, basically. So the enemy's now going to attack you, and they're going to literally have the speed advantage. And it looks like one of them actually learned, I think that's Sonic Thrust, the most basic special move for a dagger.
I believe that is correct, actually. However, with that crit fail, that's going to cost a little bit of time, so we'll see how that kind of adds up.
Oh, and our player on the right is in the ruins of the old castle, and finding out about the 7 wonders, which I have notes on, explaining all that one.
Go for it, please.
I might also add that they are back in the Princess, castle. Anyway, in the library, they find out about the following information: the Ring of Jupiter was given to the Lizeans, Lieans, and I might add, before I continue, this was all written by the first king of the country by the name of Fouj, Fujant, I think is how I'll pronounce that from now on. Anyway, so that way these group would, gather to help, protect the country. The second bookcase says about giving the Crown of Ares, which was given to the House of Galenus, basically the people that Francis serves, who share the respect for Iskandar, Iskandar. The third bookcase says Chestplate of Behemoth was given to the Presidents, which says about the power of the 5 elemental gears. Then the fourth says about the gloves of Venus were given to the Anburito, Anubito. Yes, I know it is that hard. One
Anubito?
sword, 5 gears, make an ultimate power. The last book says about the boots of Vayu, Vayu, given to Chapoa. I'm sorry on this one. It is very hard to pronounce some of these names. It's almost like Scrabble letters. But what it adds to that is all of them are the key for the 7 wonders. And this is about as far as I've gotten so far. It took me about 2.5 hours to get there, but then again, I was playing this sort of casually and sort of speedrunning-ish.
I think you did pretty well with that. I mean, I can understand some of those words are like alphabet sneezes.
Sorry, I thought that was funny.
It's okay. It is quite alright. But no, they are past where I've gotten to, but I'm assuming that they are now, if I recall correctly, the last part is that they are now going to try to find out what the 7 wonders are. My best guess is might have something to do with the fact that there are 7 tails to this game.
Tipsy, that was some of the story in where they're at right now, and a little bit of story just in the game overall.
TLDR is they're looking for the 7 wonders.
Yeah.
And there's
Well, it's basically to find out why this, the Princess Blade was so important and how it actually, basically why this is so important.
Yep, that's pretty much it. And it looks like in the race, I think Nazeda had a couple bad breaks because he's not even at the big Dryad fight or whatever. I think did Neppie just fight like an executor that all grew up or something?
Yeah. Now, I can at least explain some of the weapons choices. That was for swords, and that's one of the diplomatic abilities, either diplomacy or... God, I forget what it's called. But it allows you to actually make prices at shops more expensive. And apparently more expensive items means you can get a higher, market value and be able to buy better goods.
So there is a reason to pay a little bit more. It just depends on the quality you get.
Not only that, but also you can actually negotiate with the vendors until they cry. I think both of us forgot to mention, there are skills you can use in shops as well.
The whole negotiating with shopkeepers until they cry, that would just make me all warm and fuzzy on the inside.
Well, that's not even counting the fact of each character has their own set of skills that you can switch between your characters' skill sets to actually choose per, every time you want to buy an item, even.
And it looks like Nazeda is a couple minutes behind Neppie, I would say, because he just entered the forest.
This is after he went through the book things, the actual library, so he's heading from there. And also note that if you do not have a character in battle, then they are actually regaining HP. Now, you can stop and waste a turn in order to regain HP, but who wants to do that if you could just basically have an enemy just, basically only hit you for HP and not LP?
Oh, and we probably should just kind of make the point, if your main character kind of loses, I believe it's all their LP, it's game over. So.
And I'll point that out again that I haven't seen any of them save. Except for the save and quit option, and that is only a system data file until you get back.
So if someone bites it, this is going to really, really hurt.
At present, they would lose over 30 minutes in the run.
Ooh. And currently, it looks like Nazeda is about 3 minutes behind, I would say. He just got to the big Dryad fight, so...
Yeah, which is an interesting thing. I have seen some of them choose to use combos, And then you'll see other, the move they just used was called Flame Arrow, by the way. And nice dodge. Well, nice using a sword, so it would be deflect.
And quick question: the Pursuer boss fights, or the Pursuer fights, have we gotten to that yet, or that should still be coming up if memory serves? Correct?
I think it is. Remember, this is past where I made it to. I made it to just before this.
Because I do remember I made a little note here, because when you told me about the fire arrows, a little note: fire arrows are your friend. Use with Pursuer a lot.
Yes, you really do want to use them. And if you look to the left-hand runner, they are actually going to be using a combo.
Have the commentators talked about how the characters learn the attacks they're using? Would you like to go over this one?
I guess. Now, if I recall correctly, you have a panel that can spark, and when it sparks, you automatically will learn a new ability. Now, that is basically for special attacks. As for other attacks, if I recall correctly, it's the more you use it, you have a better chance of learning it. Mind you, considering that some of the times I will literally dodge hits and almost never get new abilities for a weapon, kind of sad.
Yeah, sometimes the ability is a bit difficult to get.
Yes, but that's not even counting the whole fact that some abilities are based on how light or how heavy your weapons are. But then again, there's also ways to get heavier style abilities on light weapons, and the reverse is also true.
Hopefully that goes over a little bit better, Rockwin. Bing bong.
Yep. Though they are also, going through caves right now. And choosing to let a few of them, recover. Oh, I might add that for every time they set up a full list of 5, commands and basically kill an enemy with just one of them, those 4 remaining commands will count towards their panel growths. Which is actually very useful on weak enemies that you would want to just one-shot and have another character learn items on. Well, learn abilities from.
One thing that I've just actually found out is that even what you make your shield is each item you make your shield out of, you're going to get a different evasion value from cotton, gloss, silk, and diamond all the way up to Damascus.
And Damascus can actually be made very early, as can Fairy Silver. And the thing is, though, that some of the types of materials can affect what type of abilities you will learn. Like, the more magical-based one will actually prevent you from getting some of your abilities, whereas others won't. And oh, now I get why they're using bows. Multi-shots.
That would make sense. You do the most damage over the shortest period of time.
That is very true, and looks like both of them are opting for the dagger-based strat, followed by the whatever you want next on that one. Oddly enough, daggers are usually the start of most of the actual abilities that you would use.
I think Archimera kind of nailed it about pre-learning to understand it. It does take a little bit, but as my compatriot here in the booth has said, after that, you can get a good flow. It's, I guess the best way to say it, You pre-learn up to the hill, and then after that, you can slide down and have your fun. Does that sound about right?
Yes, that is. I mean, the simple fact is that it's got a lot of details in there, but once you get at least a grasp of just some of it, it makes the game so much more fun. I mean, straight up, when you can literally walk through entire areas just by I wouldn't say holding A and going, because that does not even describe it at all, but just being able to do combos, fast. I might add, that also does not count the whole fact of just, I mean, as you will see, with our player on the left, just, constantly spamming, like 5 moves, but only needing one of them. Those other 4 moves are adding to his panel for, that particular character, which is very useful for gaining skills fast. Or at least as far as the growth rates go, because this game does not have traditional levels. Do you want to explain the turn limits for the different adventures?
Give me one moment. Let me pull it up in my notes.
Sure, and that's not counting the whole battle turn limit, which for every 5 actual turns in battle, it counts as a turn in the overworld map.
Okay, so turn limits. In side quests, which you don't actually need to do, but most of them have a fixed turn limit. When the turn limit for a side quest has been reached, you will get a time up and then return to the town you came from. It's still possible to replay the quest again after this has happened, but it does kind of drill it into your head that you have to kind of, hurry things up a bit. So you can't really just go with the RPG style of, okay, methodical thinking, planning, moving slowly, point A, point B, point C. It's, oh, I only have so much time, I better move.
Not just that, but also when you get through some of the stuff, even if it's a time up, you still technically can get levels on that one. Well, get to place panels, which is very useful. Something that can be done, real quick and real easy, because it does allow you to get that full, okay, I still get a free panel from all of this quest.
Oh, and Baransu, yes, that is correct. Actually, we forgot to go over that. Health is auto-refilled. It's one of the few things that they give you, so...
Well, it's auto-refilled once you get done an adventure. During an adventure, it is not auto-refilled, and there's really almost no ways to refill. I mean, you do have herbs, but in the about 10 hours I've spent with the game, I have not found a single one. And as far as waiting a turn, yes, you can wait a turn, but it will cost you, time on that one. However, it will refill some of your HP, and that's not counting that each of your equipment can or cannot increase that HP. And there's also a percentage to how much HP you can get back during waiting a turn.
So that could actually be the reason why we're probably not going to see a whole bunch of side quests. It may be because of the lack of healing available at that point.
Well, not really. I mean, you will get the free heal to start with, but I think it's more the fact of risk versus reward. If you're doing one, it depends on, some of the things. Just like you will see them avoiding all the corpses and treasure chests. And surprisingly enough, a corpse counts as a treasure chest. Yay for looting the bodies! And if you notice, Ipoli is, checking through some of the stats as far as seeing how much the growth rates will change per each piece of equipment, or per each new panel he places.
Apologies, chat. My brother was actually making something in the background and the microwave went off.
I think they're all can handle it on that one. Oh, and as noted in chat, apparently it is easier to spark on higher enemies. Assuming you mean higher level.
Do you think we're going to see them actually put themselves into a position where they're going to try and spark the skill, or do you think they're just going to go?
I think at some point they're going to try, depending on what the enemies that are coming up are. And that is not also counting the whole fact of they are spamming a lot of stuff, and here's a spark for that right now. For Francis. Yes, I think I pronounced his name correctly. Now, I will also note that your party size can be more than 5 people, but only 5 people can technically participate in every round of battle.
I believe with each story it's, 7, and I think one is 8 people?
I believe that is correct on that one. But then again, I would have to pull up my notes, and that's not also counting the whole fact that for every action they do in the actual overworld map, in a sense, that is 1 turn. Except for, I believe it's changing equipment, using a quick fix to fix weapons, and a few other small things, but I forget that.
And I think Neppie's lead grew a little bit more. Because at the Rhino Dog, that's where Nezda's at right now.
That is correct, and I believe it is a beast, at least in its basic form. The brown version of that in the English version.
I just like giving things new names. Executor, Rhino Dog, Flying Spaghetti Monster, who knows what's going to be next. It's all part of the spice of life.
That is very true.
So, got past Rhino Dog at about 47 minutes. We'll see what happens.
I will get an actual point. There's someone in chat making the comment, with the reels in this game, the dev team must have been gambling addicts, just for the humor of it.
I'm thinking someone had a love of roulette.
Now, at least with roulette, you could actually weight the rolls in your favor.
Yeah, I think at this point I'm sure at one point in this, we're gonna see somewhere where at least mining level salt will happen. Mining level Kappa salt will occur. Just at one point. All right, Rockline, I will make a note of that. Romancing Saga for PS2. Yes, with as much RNG in this, I'm fully expecting to be a touch of salt here.
That's not counting the fact of Romancing Saga 2 just got re-released for the Switch. I picked that one up myself, and I still have to sit down and play that. Then again, it's one of these Saga games that is a lot less complex, and there's another Saga game coming up in this marathon as well. Which, for us older RPG fans, knew that as Final Fantasy Legends 2. And basically before this, that was Legends 3 was the last Saga game I had actually played. So, going from, hey, you can make your characters into things, to this was kind of an interesting change.
RPGs. I mean, that's going to be a genre I think that's going to stand for a long, long time. At least I hope so.
Yeah, RPGs are really great. And although some RPGs have extremely long speedruns, this one doesn't particularly seem to have such a long speedrun because it's broken up into stories.
That is true. There are some RPGs that, although they are broken up into stories, their stories are very complex and can still take time.
So, Sakura, with what you've seen so far, what do you think of this game?
I think it has very beautiful artwork.
That is a very true statement. Not only that, but also, it's got an interesting story to it as well.
Yep, absolutely. So they're currently, I'm assuming, talking to a dragon in a mine whose head is stuck?
Not sure.
It looks like his head is stuck.
I like to think that he's he's teaching the secrets of karaoke to them.
I know that our host was actually doing some karaoke during Christmas, if I recall correctly.
About that.
Hey, just because I was in your stream at that point and could hear that, doesn't mean that I can't bring that up for some humor.
It was actually pretty good. I liked it. Oh my
god. So, this mine over here with the dragon in it.
No. All right, we'll change the subject. Mine aside, what do you think of the different kind of like the HP and the LP systems and the myriad of systems that kind of make the building blocks to this game? How about that question?
I know for myself, I actually enjoy being able to just sit back and just like, okay, I'm not taking LP damage. Just spam attack because I'm not going to die to this attack. So I can just spam attacks and not care.
I think I scared Sakura away.
What? No. I was still here.
Did you hear the question?
No.
Fair enough. With all the different systems we've been going over from the HP, LP, the combo rate, basically everything else, and how they kind of all fit in, what do you think of that and how it builds for the game experience? What do you think of just the whole thing on that end?
Well, I feel like for a newer runner, it would be extremely overwhelming. To take the time to have to research all this and stuff like that, especially, how some of it's kind of RNG related. And, yeah, it's definitely something that is more for somebody who I feel like can kind of, I don't know, it's really RNG based, a lot of thinking on the fly. So it's a very interesting game. It's an interesting game to watch, and it looks like the story is really good, but I don't think I could ever run it myself. It requires way too much knowledge.
Even if you don't run it, just a bit of knowledge and just try playing it casually. I'm pretty sure you would actually enjoy it.
It looks like a great game, and I really do enjoy RPGs. So,
going to chat for just a moment, Evil Squirrel brought up a good point. It feels like you need to approach it more with the mentality of a randomizer rather than a quote-unquote standard run. That actually brings up a good point with some of the RNG base and how everything can kind of be thrown helter-skelter. It is more of a thinking man's run and more of a quote-unquote randomizer. I mean, you're going to have your basic values, but then really after that, it's open country.
That's very true. I mean, I found it quite interesting when, I was trying to practice, like, just getting a good item, and it was just like, okay, what abilities would I need to actually want on this item, or, could I get something very good, or how much durability would I get, or, am I going to need to reset this, before I actually, want to go for this, because even just playing this game casually and trying to be fast, using the blacksmith is your friend. Getting high-end abilities early is your friend. Basically, anything that allows you to actually just get through this game faster is your friend. Because the story is actually pretty good, and, as Sakura said, the art style is very good as well.
Oh yes, especially when it comes to RPGs of this caliber, the art style can definitely be either I find either a great boon or sometimes a detraction from the main story. I've seen a couple of them where it's just like, I don't know.
I'm just happy to see two runners of this caliber actually decide to show us how good of a game this can be and how much of an interesting speedrun it can be.
I don't think they're speedrunners. I think they're magicians. I wanna like actually make sure they don't have like wands. I think they're wizards. I truly think they're wizards. They're showing amazing skill, honestly, with all the RNG base and how everything is rolling on. I have an amazing amount of respect for these two.
That is very true. I mean, this is one of those things that I think some of our previous commentators have said, like, you know, if there was more, you know, actual runners of this game outside of Japan, you would actually see, you know, just downloading a Deco stream and just learning a lot of new tech would be amazing.
Tipsy, I believe you can actually see that. Is that both runners on screen right now?
Yes, you can, and I wish I could understand their commentator because honestly, I'm assuming their commentator as well is also a runner of this game because trying to explain it, you know, without at least somewhat of experience of that is a lot harder than it looks.
Oh, if you're jumping in raw, you'd be looking, it's like, what is this? Why am I here? But you know, it's actually a very interesting story. You are correct. The art style is amazing. One thing that, you know, some of chat has talked about, it can be a bit of a thing to overcome. The menuing, especially some of the systems, but as other people have talked about, once you get over that hill, it could be a blast to play.
Yes, it is a blast to play. You could even see that the runners, I'm assuming they're actually using turbos, because I know which the Japanese community allows them for RPG speedrunning because of all the text masking you have to do. But you can see them changing equipment right now because, you know, weapons break and there are better weapons that you need on that one. And also armor. But if you notice, they're trying to keep at least a lot of their equipment very light, so that way they get the ability to go faster and start, you know, battle sooner.
Yes, that is correct. And I think actually Nazeda may have made up a little bit of time.
I think you are correct, and you can see them changing, you know, the different panels that they're getting, because as I think one of us has stated that there are different growth rates for each panel, and being able to change that, you know, after each battle is very useful. I mean, okay, so this battle you're going to need, you know, this map you're going to need to be able to use some, you know, getting over obstacles. Well, I'm only going to need it for this one, you know, map. Okay, I can get rid of it at the end of this map. This is very useful. And I might add, you can see them going back to one of the other towns to actually get more items, and I'm pretty sure they're probably going to forge some stuff now. At least that's what I can assume on that one. Now, would you like to go over blacksmithing again, if we're going to start seeing that?
Let me pull those notes up. I've got a few pages to roll through on that.
Anyway, we might add, you also, although there is a blacksmith that can work with guns, apparently you can't make guns, though.
So really, when it comes to blacksmithing, there are two ways to kind of get better stuff. It's either battle or blacksmith, and the biggest thing is you can do this with abilities. Now, this is just from my notes, so obviously, Magius, please correct me from your experience. One of the things that you have to be careful of is, since many of the blacksmiths have their own different specialty, you need to go to the correct blacksmith to get what you want. But when you have the correct item, the correct equipment, you can essentially make something that, as Magius has said in the past, get a weapon that can almost wreck the game from second town onward.
Yeah, that is correct. Although, if I recall correctly, for some of that, it has different percentages of it happening. Although I do know that if you keep holding left or right to cycle through the whole help things, you can technically get the estimates up to the correct, weapon. However, I do not know if that affects the chances of it or not.
It doesn't say on my side, so I tried looking that up. I could not find any notes on that.
I know for myself, there are times where it's like, okay, I would get this, and I would get it, right off the back, and then there's other times where it wouldn't come for 10 minutes, and having to soft reset for about 5 of them, does hurt a bit.
Yes, unfortunately, after you get everything, there is still a chance of failure, and if it's failure, well, that's really gonna be kind of a pain.
That is very true. And as you can see, our runners are opting to not really have much equipment on, though I do think I've seen a few of them actually use the ability that the game allows you to equip items that are normally not in the correct slot in other slots. For example, being able to put a helmet on your legs slot, I think actually is interesting, though I don't know if that affects things or not.
I think they're looking for special equipment with special abilities, and I haven't seen any of them save, have you?
I still haven't. An hour in, no saves, except for a quick, save and, quit option to use a continue file, but apart from that, no, I do not believe I have.
So basically, if any of these, if either side gets wiped, that could be the end of the progress for them for a while.
That is very true, so I can only assume that they're continuing to try to find out more about these 7 wonders.
If you like the bravery of these runners, please give them a follow, show the love. If you have just a little bit of hope for them, please just give them some RNG blessings. If you want to see at least a team wipe, show up the Kappas. But in any case, follow the runners, have some fun. Because there's still a couple enemies, if memory serves, that could be a problem. And without some of the side quests, I wonder how they're going to get through that.
I'm betting with skill and thinking on their feet. This game has been a very interesting playthrough when I was, trying to actually work on learning some of the story to it. And it's been interesting on that one. As you can see, changing around the equipment can really affect, what you're going to get as far as just speed and all of that. And that's not even counting the base weight for each character. Yes, characters have weight, and what's even more amusing is knowing, the actual weight of every character too. Do you want to go over the weight and distance per each weapon type?
I'm going to start off with just character weights.
Yeah, each character actually does have a weight, and that effectively, is the base value, and then whatever armor you have and weapons is added to that. And there's actually a complex formula on that one. I remember parts of it, but I know part of it was dividing by 4. I'll have to go find the table for it.
Total weight calculation is character's body weight divided by 4 plus the sum of equipment weight divided by 8. So sum of equipment weight divided by 8, character's body weight divided by 4, add those two together.
I just heard numbers. What was this math?
That was my thought when I saw it.
Number, blah. Number, blah, blah. Number,
Divided
blah, blah,
blah.
But some of these numbers are very important because when you try to get with, like, for example, I don't think Anzan is in this story, but will you use him as an example? He has a weight of 150. Heaviest character in the game. He is going to be pretty slow, and if we try to move him around, he's going to be kind of, well, a heavy character. So we need to lighten him up. We're not going to put him in lead body armor because lead is 8 pounds, and because body armor has an equipment type multiplier of 8, 8 times 8 is 64, we just created a big lead thwomp.
Now, what's even more amusing is you'll probably throw him in the back and maybe have him cast spells. Because spells, there is the option of turning a heavy character into a spellcaster. Because you're already going to be wanting them to be like a finishing off option. But then again, there's a lot of different options in this game. Especially a lot of different character builds, too.
Now I'm thinking of a big lead thwomp with a little mage cap on it, trying to, hold a stick up. With a little
Mario thwomp or other type of thwomp?
Mario. Mario's thwomp trying to be Gandalf. That's the picture I got in my head because of what you said now.
And according to chat, Anzu is in this story, and he is the rock guy.
Oh, goody. So, yeah, we're going to... Oh, God. Oh, I hope someone puts him in lead body armor. I want to see my lead thwomp.
Oh, God. I know Mithril, a.k.a. Fairy Silver, at least that's what I'm assuming it means on that one, is very good. It's very lightweight, too. And if you're lucky with a 15% chance, you can make it in the second town.
Alright, let's see here.
I'm surprised I haven't seen more combos, since they can deal a lot of damage.
This is a race. It may take more time.
Well, that is true, but being able to one-shot certain enemies that are going to take time anyway, I'd rather take the one-shot, even if it's going to cost me like 2 or 3. And, oh good god. I think, is that an on-purpose death, or what? I'm not sure if that's story-based or what.
No, the other chat is saying rip pretty badly.
Ouch!
Well, we just got a wipe.
Well, it shows that, but it shows them also continuing, so I'm assuming maybe they took a save, but I'm not sure. Nope, it looks like it's good on that one. So I don't know if they're forced to lose or what have you there, but looks like they are able to continue. Maybe it's one of those stories where, you know, you have the option to go either way. Oh, someone's saying it's an intended?
Oh, like the Balio and Sunder fight, the first one from Breath of Fire 3. You have to lose, you can't win.
Oh, and looks like we did see our first save of the game. I should say game. Our first actual save of the run.
Well, that's good, at least. And I want to say Nazeda has made up a fair bit of time. I want to say he came back from about a 4-minute deficit back in the forest. I want to say almost, I think it's minute and a half now.
That is very true. I mean, this game, it is somewhat RNG heavy, but at the same point, it is not as bad. It looks like both characters are taking a safety save here. So get ready, everybody. Looks like we're going to see the possibility of some wipes coming up.
What gets me worried is if they feel they need the safety save, they may get gambly. They may feel like, okay, I have this. Let's see what I can get off of it. Did that snake just pogo by? And yes,
that's not counting a few of the other weird techniques on that one in this game. Seeing a beast try to punch you is also amusing. I think we all did, as far as worrying for the runners with a death in that game. Oh, in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going back an hour. That's half of the guesstimate there. That would hurt, and I'm sure they would just kind of be. They would be not like this, not like this.
That is true. Is that two snakes together, or is that a Chinese dragon, or Japanese dragon, I should say?
I believe
it's Japanese dragon.
Yeah, I think it's something of that ilk. I believe you're correct. Chinese or Japanese, something. It is an Asian-style dragon. This feels like the most extreme elimination challenge speedrunning.
Oh, good God, I remember that show.
I'm Kenny Blankenship, and here's Vic Romano! And Sakura can be Captain Tennille.
Yeah.
What's even funnier is actually seeing that they actually made another version of that. Well, let me rephrase that. They made a US version of that, which I think was on NBC.
Yeah, we're fighting dragon bones.
Them bones. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't this Margus Bowl?
And now there's a zombie dragon they gotta fight.
And a dude behind it who I'm sure he's not very easy either.
That is probably true. Though it does look like another, spark ability. Those things are always useful whenever you get them. Actually, I think that person is in the dragon. Are they as one person / dragon, or is one the familiar of another? I'm not sure there.
I think at this point we're just going to have to go, if you ask the question, then we're going to have to get an answer, so please don't ask the question.
Well, it's not that, it's just finding the information, and the actual walkthrough guides that you can find are basically for some players just one-time playthrough.
Yeah, but when someone asks a question like, what is this? It's like, oh, goodness, because now my mind's going to go into a full psychological breakdown on this, and I don't need that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. This game is fun. You know, it is so very fun. I definitely recommend it to everybody to try it if you can, or like what you see. It literally just a tiny bit of research. Just take an hour to an hour and a half to look up some of the information before you start a play through of this game, and you'll be hooked as far as just the interesting things you can do in this game. And it's so very fun. A little bit complicated, a little bit hectic, but fun.
It seems that nazedal had a bit of a problem, lost a little bit of time in the rolls on the last dragon. Has to deal with this one. So I think got about 2 minutes. We'll see how that turns out.
That's true, and I'm surprised I haven't seen some of the combos yet. But I can see that they're choosing the turn order differently on that one, based on whether or not they want their last person they chose to go first or not. And I do know that does affect, you know, possibility for combos and other things too. Also of note that if you have several combos happen at the same, multiple times, you do get a higher combo percentage for that. And that's not to mention the fact that the enemies can interrupt your combos. So you might see a attack from the party, an attack from the enemy, and then another attack from the party, and then 2 attacks straight from the enemy, all in one combo string.
That is true. However, it looks like as the health drops, the guy here, he's got a couple new tricks up his sleeve, so we got to be aware of that, including that nasty breath attack that Neppie seemed to just get hit with.
Nah, the fun's begun. The fun has begun. Especially since this run is very fun to watch. As seeing these runners play this game at a high level is very interesting, especially for anybody that has ever tried to play this game. And note I said try there, because it is a little complicated, but it is so very fun.
For me, it's just, as someone who is learning just how different people do speedrunning, this shows kind of the breadth of how people really take it to a game. The detail that has to be done for something like this, especially to get through all the systems, that is, something very remarkable and definitely needs to be applauded.
Some games have systems to learn, others have, clips, long warps and glitches to learn. So I guess it, balances out.
Yeah, whenever I try a randomizer, they just put something on the pedestal for me. So, nah. For me, I tried doing speedrunning, and whenever I fail at something and I can see someone else do it, that just makes my respect for it go up even higher. So anyone who can speedrun this well to this degree, I have to have just that much respect for. So kudos to both Neppie and nazedal.
I 100% agree there. I mean, as a speedrunner myself, namely for games like A Link to the Past, Mystic Quest, and a few others, I can understand completely the amount of skill it takes for certain things.
All right, so Neppie got out about 119.20.
Yes, someone pointed out in the chat. Your memory is correct. You can make a single character attack 5 times straight, and you can even combo all 5 of those attacks too. And that also means that, honestly, if you want, and you could basically one-shot an enemy, you can just have that one person selected 5 times, and it will count them as 5 actions on their way to their next panel upgrades.
Did Nazeda get wiped?
I don't think so.
I was looking at Neppie's screen. I think Nazeda got wiped.
No, I don't think he did. But we shall soon see. I don't believe he did.
Yeah, he has to go through this again.
Ouch.
Oh, that's going to cost a lot of time. Oh, rip. Nazeda's got to pay the piper.
Yeah, he did wipe. Ouch.
The worst part was it was just at the time where, you know, they'd be moving on, so it had to be close to 0. Oh.
Just goes to show you about how this game works. And I agree with chat, well, to some degree, that let's hope for a close race, but I hope to not see either player screw up that much.
Yes, RNG, that is, I mean, you make a mistake. I don't think even Nazeda made a mistake. I didn't see one. I think maybe it was just like a critical attack or something. I was looking at Neppie's screen because they had gotten past the cutscene, and I looked over and I saw the start screen again. It's like, wait a minute. Was there a wipe?
I missed the start screen on that one.
And we were both looking at Neppie.
Well, I had my eye, somewhat on there, but it's hard, bouncing back and forth between streams.
This is a race, yes.
And Sakura, do you want to mention what this race is from?
You mean like what the event is?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, sure. This is the second annual RTA in Japan marathon, and you're watching the English restream hosted here on twitch.tv/speedgaming3. And this restream is going to be live from December 27th at 2 a.m. all the way until December 31st at 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is a Japanese speedrunning event. Not any kind of charity event or anything else. All it's just an exposition on some great skill.
Which is actually very nice, considering the Japanese community really hasn't had much live events like, we normally would with AGDQ, SGDQ, and RPG Limit Break, just to name a handful. At least 3 of the bigger ones, I should say.
So it's always good when we can kind of give a hard time and show, hey, we got good talent speedrun all over the world.
Not just that, but also allows us to, tip our hats to our fellow Japanese runners who normally don't get seen as much. Because, honestly, they're some of the best runners out there, apart from, other good runners. I mean, there's the whole fact of, I forget some of the top name ones, but We even have a handful coming to AGDQ this year. Again, I should say.
I mean, there's just so much that I understand from just going through, especially when it comes to finding new ways to shave seconds. Very skilled, especially with certain games. So this will be very interesting. I'm kind of glad to be here. So thanks, Sakura. You kind of dropped me in on this. So thank you.
And as someone pointed out in chat, this is one of the middle level, stories as far as difficulty goes, I guess.
I do have to say, I feel bad for Nazeda because not only did they ripped where they have to take battles, at least 2, and one you could, 1 or 2 you have to classify as a boss fight, and 1 is a minion fight. So maybe I think that's, unless something comes up, that could be the worst place to rip of all.
That is true. I mean, we have the zombie. Not sure if it's a human. Not sure if it's zombie bone dragon or not. I think the way it looks like one might be a Beastmaster style, enemy.
In any case, it looks dangerous. It's already got Nazeda once, and I'm sure it doesn't want to repeat that again.
No, I don't think so either. It looks like Neppie is starting to pick up magic tablets, which are things that allow you to actually learn magic spells throughout the game. And via the color, they would be level 3 magic tablets. So here's looking at some interesting spells.
And Neppie is using that time the best they can, and Nazeda is just trying to get past the gatekeeper here, the dragon. And I'm sure as soon as they get past this little obstacle, they're going to feel a lot better, but they got to realize they're going to be behind.
It makes you wonder, are they going to start to gamble? Or not?
I'm not a speedrunner, but if I'm behind in something, and I would probably know the strategy of my opponent to a certain degree, I would probably say I have to gamble a little bit.
Well, not only that, since they're sitting right next to each other, he can look over and see exactly where he is.
Yeah, so Neppie probably goes, okay, I know I'm ahead, but yeah, Nazeda, I would say at this point, looks like we're going to have a little special event here on Nazeda's side.
That is true. I think he's through the fat meat, so that should be great for him.
Yep. Couldn't get the job done himself, but he got a little bit of backup, which, hey, you get through the fight, that counts. We'll take it. I'm sure he'll take it. They'll take it. Everyone will take it. Moving on. Even Sakura will take it. However, one thing that I'm sure Neppie will have to take and is enjoying currently is about a 10-minute lead. Now, Nazeda has cut down that lead before. 10 minutes, though, that's a lot harder to cut versus, say, 1, 2, 3, or 4.
It's not impossible. One more Def on Neppie's side actually might, even it up. In fact, it would be more than a 10-minute time loss.
It's going to depend on a few things. So, Would you gauge it maybe at 11 minutes then?
Maybe closer to 12, but I'd have to scroll back to see when the death occurred and how far he was into the fight.
I meant Neppie's lead.
I know. I'd have to see when the death occurred so I could actually see what time it was on the clock, and then extrapolate from there.
Oh, I thought it was 1:19. So that's what.
Yeah, about 10 minutes then, I guess. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But it does seem that Zelda's menuing is a lot faster than Neppie's.
That has been saving some time in the past, so I mean, we still got what, about 40 minutes on the guesstimate. That could save 10 minutes. I mean, it saved 3 minutes over what, about half an hour? That may do it if you really push. And with a couple of gambles, you never know.
That is very true. And if the reels are kind to him. Do you want to go over the reels again?
Yeah.
That probably just joined us.
The reels. Now, the reels are one of those things that can be RNG based. When you press the O button on this is specifically with the field one. The reel won't stop immediately sometimes. It can slip. How many steps it slips is random as well, so it can cause you to miss the panel you're aiming for. Below, well, let me put it like this. Depending on the level of the reel, because with certain things, and I believe with the treasure of certain chests, you can go up and down, and that can affect that as well. Basically, there are two strategies that I believe Matt just went over earlier. One, you can go for a long set of green circles. That way, if it slips, you're in good territory. The second one, you just aim for it and hope you don't slip.
Well, that, and also early on, you will have at least an early green, circle early on the reel, and if you just, have your timing right, you can just hope that you will get there because you have, a higher chance of getting it. If you aim for like the panel before and it slips to 1, you've got it, or, because of that coin flip, or you just aim for it exactly, depending on the, the difficulty of the check.
Now, I think as it goes on, the checks are going to get a little bit more difficult as well. Is that correct?
Yes, that is. Though depending on what level of stat you have for that, and depending on the level of, the item or chest you are trying to go for. Some checks can be a lot easier because it's a very low level item, and or check, and others are, well, hard as anything because they're hard checks.
Okay, RNG. I made a lot. I made puns in the last one, so I will give you that one. Yes, it got real.
Ouch. Then again, if you are lucky, you can literally, if you can make a check on it, you can succeed. Just like in D&D, you can always make a, basically roll a natural 20 and just basically outright, you're going to succeed. How well? Well, that's up to the basic game master there. And in this case, the game master is RNG.
Have you noticed we've said this happens on RNG a lot? There's a reason. But we've also said you can plan this, this, and this. It's about 50-50 from what I can tell. What about you, Mattress?
I would say it is a bit of each. I mean, it's fun. I'd say the RNG of the game isn't as bad as some games like, say, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, where you can die on the first boss RNG levels, but it does have, its benefits to it. And looks like Neppie is choosing to throw a level 3 punch skill on Regis. Throwing on, I forget what that is, one of the key abilities. If I recall correctly, that could be either eavesdropping, sharp eye, locksmithing, And then throwing a bow ability on the last enemy, the one I think that looks like a... Would you say it looks like a squirrel to you?
I believe so.
Yay, squirrels!
Yeah, I think actually Neppie, I think it's that final boss.
I am not sure though. It doesn't look like it, but it is the same guy that they had to fight earlier and lost to. With the intentional loss.
Yeah, I think I may be wrong, but I think that is the case. And Nazeda is picking up some time, it looks like.
That is correct. Now, will we see another wipe?
If Neppie wipes, it could be a close race.
I believe it might not be as close as you think. I tried to remember where the last save was for Neppie.
Well, I would think in most video games there's a save point right before final boss.
It depends on the game. I mean, is there a save point in Bowser's Castle?
And chat is saying Neppie saved right before this boss.
Okay, good. Very good. Let's hope we see something interesting.
Really, I think if Neppie takes a late wipe, that will pretty much put him back on equal footing.
So I guess if I extrapolate from how long it's taking the runners to get here, and from where I was when I was playing this game, I've got about, if I could manage the speed, maybe about another 2 hours to go. But that's playing a lot of the stuff conservatively.
Well, at least you know. I mean, that's always good. Yeet,
True, but sometimes it is hard to tell.
I think Nazeda got lost a little bit, going back and forth.
That is a little hard. You know, it is one of those things that can happen in this game. It really can. I mean, it's, you know, a bit confusing, but it's also remembering where you are and what you, you know, where you are in the game, and then, you know, where you've gone to as well. Sorry, couldn't talk there for a minute.
No worries. I think we both had our we can speak English, we swear moments.
And I think Neppie is done. I'm not sure yet.
Final bosses usually have multiple forms, don't they?
Some do, some don't. It depends on the RPG. Because I know a few of the old school RPG bosses don't, and a few of the newer ones don't either. But yeah, it looks like they are at the second form of the final boss.
Gale, in all honesty, there are still things about this game that I don't understand. And
I mean, I understand some of it, but is that a giant hairball attached to, like, multiple swords or something?
Yes, that is Cousin It Celestial Edition.
Yes, chat, you can. To some degree, because there are 7 tails to this game. This is only one of 7.
Nazeda's gotta be hoping for a wipe. Gotta be hoping.
That is true, but even then, he's probably going to be happy, you know. It is probably going to be very respectful to his fellow runner's skill level.
Oh yes, absolutely, but still, I mean, you want to win if you're in a race.
That is very true. Though I'm surprised at the differences between the US version of this game and, you know, the Japanese version of the game. Just because of the fact of it's the PS2 era, and you normally don't see that much censorship, but apparently they censored out the bombs, and they'd rather show a, broken hand instead?
Yeah, different countries, different things.
I know, but still. So we got the giant rock monster on Neppie's side going in for attack. The slow as anything monster. And here comes another combo. Swing and a miss for the boss. At least that's how it looked like. Ouch! Was that 6 sword slashes to that? You know, to one of the characters? Here comes the 3-hit combo. 2 dagger moves, not dagger moves, 2 spear moves, and I think an arrow?
$1,000 damage straight, that'll do it. That'll at least make them up.
That is true, and their combo gauge is up, you know, pretty high. I guess we forgot to mention, because either of them did that, you can save combos, and at the same point per each, I think it's 5 or 6 combos, you know, your older combos will be erased. It is that fluid as far as things go.
I think we did go over that once. I mean, there's so many little different nuances in this game. It's kind of hard to go over each and every little one.
Well, we could always link the notes and the entire guide of the systems in chat if anybody wants to go read it. Don't do it unless you've got about 2 hours time and like to read almost a textbook's worth of information on this one. Mind you, it's not that bad, it's just you want to have the game open in front of you at the same time so you could actually relate it at the same time.
I'm still saying I can write a dissertation on this for college. Fair enough, Tipsy, fair enough.
But still, this is definitely a game, if you're a fan of, you know, RPG, and you're a fan of, like, as my fellow commentator said, randomizers, go ahead and try to pick this one up. I guarantee you, it's worth the play. It is worth the play.
Did Neppie just get to the next form of the boss? Was there like a
yes, I
change?
think he did. Now, I know I've seen some long boss fights before, but this has got to be up there. Also remember, for every character they do not use in a turn of battle, those characters regain HP. Not life points, but HP, which is still useful, as it does act as a cushion so your characters won't die.
So if they haven't taken LP damage, they can get a bit of a heal up. That's always good to know.
Well, not just that, but also just even if they've taken LP damage, they can still just sit back for a turn or two, get back to full HP, and then go from there. And looks like, the other one, looks like they're both going to be on the final boss now.
Well, chat, that happened. Let's just move on, please.
What happened?
Don't worry.
The start of the other final boss fight.
Don't worry about it, Magus. We have two great speedrunners at the final boss. Let's focus on them.
That is true. That is true.
In fact, if you guys want to follow the speedrunners, I mean, they definitely got stamina for staying in the boss fight this long. I say that. Let me see if I can get this right. There you go. Give them a follow. See some of their other stuff and enjoy their work. I'm sure they would love to have you just kind of watch it. Just see them grow as speedrunners, of course.
That is true. And remember, most of our fellow Japanese runners don't get a chance to show off their skills that often, so, giving them more exposure is always worth it. And, ooh, simultaneous special move setup. And looks like we're on third or fourth phase now.
I want to say, if this isn't end, I want to say it's fourth. And that is not a lot of damage.
And looks like it is the fourth phase of the fight. Has an almost Final Fantasy VI Kefka fight look to the art style in the background.
It does, doesn't it?
Well, I'd say that plus One Winged Angel from Final Fantasy VII, but that's saying something.
Right now, when someone says One Winged Angel, I think Kenny Omega. It's a wrestling thing.
It's okay. It is okay. I get your reference, surprisingly. Yeah, the final boss looks like Kefka to some degree, at least with the way he's positioned, but only has one ring, so he reminds you of Sephiroth.
And he's majorly annoying. Actually, that's both Kefka and Sephiroth. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Nazedal's on second phase.
Now, Sakura, have you had any questions that you could think of so far about this run or this boss fight?
I think you guys have pretty much answered a vast majority of everything. I'm curious as to how many phases this boss has, but that's It's pretty much I think the question in everyone's mind is how many phases is this?
I know I've seen chat literally go through just the longest boss fight phase, number of phases they have seen. I think someone said Wild Arms 3 had like a 10-phase final boss, and someone said, I think it's Persona 3 or something like that had another chunk.
Yeah, but I'm more wondering about this boss.
Somewhere between now and forever.
This isn't evil in my final form. I'm sorry, but I had to use that reference. Shoutouts to Isn't Even My Final Form, the runner as well.
You know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. I will say, a wipe here, we are at mining levels of assault right off the bat.
Not just mining levels of assault. I am talking just you literally might see a broken controller.
Get the spaceship. We have found Salt Planet Omega. Salt Planet Jericho. Oh my.
Again, shoutouts to that match coming up.
I'm excited, can't you tell?
Yes, I can. And this is coming from someone who's actually trying to speedrun a wrestling game. But that's a side note in a conversation for another thing.
Yes, it is. Tipsy, there's a small part of me that's like, oh, I hope they don't wipe. And then there's another part of me that's like, oh boy, if they wipe, this is gonna suck. Kappa.
As a casual fan, I'm hoping they both wipe simultaneously, so it comes down to execution. But as a speedrunner, I'm hoping to not see that happen.
We never wish misfortune on any of the runners.
That is very true. That's why I'm going with my speedrun instinct on that one.
I'm sorry, I've seen randos. Misfortune is wished upon everybody, but in equal amounts. So at least it's fair.
That is true, and looks like Neppie is done? We'll soon see. At least he's done the 4th phase.
That does not look like a 5th phase to me. Yep, that looks like dead boss.
Yep, here come the credits.
Timer won't end until the game is complete. So once they have to put in their last input, that will be once the timer ends.
Actually, there is a last save. So, timer ends after final save at the end of the story.
Yep, that would technically be their last input.
Which is always amusing when a game actually requires that.
You get so far, you learn so many things. Oh wait, I forgot to save. No!
And that's not also counting that I believe there is a New Game Plus feature in some of the Saga games.
Although I am not happy I did not get my lead-covered magic swamp, but I will get it in spirit. I may just have to draw it.
That is true, but you could always just pick up the game yourself and add lead armor to him.
You don't know me very well. I may just do that.
It's a very good game. It is. And you have the notes now so that you could actually pick it up and try speedrunning it yourself. And yes, the music to this game is amazing.
So, once again, give both Neppie and Nazeda a good follow. Give them a round of applause. I mean, what else can you give them? Just respect, love, admiration, hopes, dreams. You know, throw rice at him. I think no, you do that for weddings. Never mind. Don't do that. That's a bad one. But in any case, enjoy and cheer on Nazeda because I think they still got a little bit of ways to go.
They're only on phase 3, I think. 2 or 3. I think there's a slight difference in that one. But yes, there's the fin on Neppie's side. And the final save coming up. And that's time for Neppie with 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 20 seconds. Not bad for an insane run.
GG to Neppie.
Yes, GG to Neppie.
Can we get some GGs in chat for Neppie?
I did see a few of them go up, so there we go. Thank you. Beautiful. All the beautiful. No, Weed King. Oh, you hurt my feelings. You hurt me.
Nazda should be following very shortly behind here.
That is correct. And from what I could read with the elementary school closed sign, apparently the main heroine did find her husband.
That is good. Happy ending to the story.
At least one of the stories, I can say.
So I guess you do need to throw the rice after all. We're going to a wedding. You still do that with weddings, right? That hasn't been like
no,
right?
No, it's a long time gone.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I just dated myself. Sorry.
No, there's actually it's a bit of an environmental concern because animals eat it and it expands, and yeah, could end up with explodey birds instead.
Explodey birds.
Don't ask. Long
and
story.
It looks like Zola is on phase 4.
Yeah, I just dated myself on that one. I apologize.
What the heck is that dancing in Neppie's side during the credits?
It's one of the characters
looks like
from
a
the game.
Chocobo, but it's not.
Wasn't there like a chipmunk-based race in the game? I honestly cannot see it. I think it's playing an instrument, though.
I think it's actually painting. That it just painted the picture.
It could be making an omelet for all I know. I'm going to go with what you're saying, Sakura. It makes more sense.
Yes, Sakura is right, that it is painting the pictures. I guess we knew who the artist of the game was. This bird. No wonder it's looking nice. So I am surprised that the credits are in Japanese, considering anybody that has played A Link to the Past. Even in the vanilla version, the credits are in English for some reason.
Different, they're also made by different companies.
Well, that is true, I guess. And again, I've seen a lot of other Nintendo runs before, and they're not in English either. Yeah.
Well, it depends on who actually made the game, though. although Nintendo like publishes it and stuff. Sometimes different company, like the individual like development teams, do their own thing.
That is very good. And just to point out, yes, did manage to catch up after his 10-minute time loss. Sorry, I'm still not good with naming.
All things considered, Nazeda had a couple moments, but with every moment, made it back, and it just that one rip, one wipe. That was really what cost it.
And you could see Neppie actually, watching his opponent and cheering him on. Even though he doesn't show it, that's part of the Japanese tradition of, respecting your opponent. And once they're done, you probably will hear them cheering.
That does not look like a friendly attack there.
He must be a little nervous. I would be at this point. Oh my goodness. After this long?
Moontune, actually, with this specific category, there isn't a whole lot of times to actually look at. So, personal best on this, we can't actually say that well, unless either Magus or
Sakura?
Wow, I just blanked on that.
No, I don't have access to the. I don't have access to that, unfortunately. But
I
GG
have a link to the Nico boards, but I don't know if that's changed or not.
GG to to Nazda. Thank you so much to both the runners.
Well, yeah, we just have to wait for the official time on that one.
Yep, gotta get those last inputs in. But great job from both of them.
Yes, very good job.
Absolutely.
Get some GGs in chat for Nazda.
Can't believe I forgot Sakura.
It happens. We all try not to forget Sakura. And it's actually very hard to forget Sakura. Shoutouts to Sakura!
Tipsy, honestly, Sakura and Magus just made sure I didn't light things on fire or screw this up. So give them the support, honestly. Here, let me put this up.
Hey, I actually sat down and played a chunk of this game. That's on top of actually looking up a lot of the, things for this. If you want to see someone stumble around and not have much knowledge but still be able to put up a good show, go out and check out my last live stream. It's basically me playing this game. This very story. And taking notes for the story part of this.
Yeah, I think the next game I'm going to be on, I think my style will be a little bit more compatible. I guess that's the term.
All right, well, GG to both these runners. Just gotta watch this cutscene here. And then we'll be moving on to the next game. So this is the, I guess the last portion of it. Yeah, this fancy little Sunday school. That's in English. Credits aren't, but that's in English. That's interesting.
I'm assuming that although she doesn't find her husband anymore, she opens up the school again and teaches again for him. It says, sorry, closed. Pablo Sunday school into the U.S. It's elementary.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, very nice artwork for this game too, and for as difficult of a game as this was, the runners did a very, very good job in making it through. So that is the finale for both of these runners, the last save.
That is correct.
And so official time will be
right after the last save.
2:46.
Wow, you're 10 seconds ahead of me even. Spoilers, Sakura! Spoilers!
I'm watching the commentary stream.
As am I. And now that's official. Can we get some GGs in chat again for these runners? And the amount of just knowledge and skill that it's taken for them to run this game?
If not, I'll drop a bunch of rabbits into it.
GG to both our runners. That was awesome. That was awesome to watch. Very nicely done by Nazda and Neppie. And thank you so much to our commentators here, Magus and Mr. Big T Anderson. Thank you guys so much for your excellent commentary and guiding us through that challenging and and very intense knowledge in game. Requires some intense knowledge in order to do that, so it was greatly appreciated that you guys stepped up. And
not a problem. I've been meaning to play this game for a while since I've had it, you know, in my collection for a little while, so I used this as an excuse to actually sit down and finally play it.
Yeah, it was. It's really good. For those of you who are watching the stream and wondering what's going on, they're currently singing karaoke to the end credits. So that is why that gentleman is dancing in the background.
Wow, and I have this muted. Why do I have the actual commentary stream muted? I need to turn that up.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, apparently they are doing the tradition of singing the final song.
Yeah, and there we go. GG again. Oh my goodness, that was definitely something. Yeah, that's why they were dancing in the background. But again, thank you guys, both of you, so much for your commentary. It's super appreciated, like I said, that you guys offered to pick this up. So, thank you very much.
Oh, not a problem. I was at least able to focus on this one because this is the only time you'll hear me out for this entire marathon. But considering how big of a game this is, I hope you understand why I had to focus on the game.
Yeah, no, it looked like a lot of fun. It looks definitely challenging, and I wish you all the best in running it. It seems like it will be definitely exciting.
I don't know if I'll finish running it, but at least I will finish at least a casual playthrough of it. It's worth the actual I should finish this because it's a good game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And definitely, again, anybody who wants to check out a good RPG that's got, you know, once you understand it, you literally will find a lot of interesting elements in this game. Definitely look it up. Definitely check it out. And definitely check out the Saga series as a whole. I mean, we've had at least a handful of games out in the US, and I know there's a few that were released in Europe as far as remakes of some of them, so just check around. You'll probably be able to find and enjoy this series. Especially since it's Square's little experimental series, at least from what I've heard.
And if anyone decided that they did want to run it, where should they start looking for some notes or something?
Game Facts. They have a whole section on that one, and there's some cliff notes out there, but yeah, Game Facts has an entire breakdown of all the systems, you know, the blacksmithing guide, and all the other stuff. They even have a side quest guide, too, if you want to pick up some of the side quests, too, but excuse me, this game as a whole is very interesting, and just having a little knowledge just makes the playthrough so much better. Knowing that you can actually refine your stuff to get high-end equipment early, knowing about the combos, and knowing about just the small things with the reel, just, you know, you can get far in just that little bit of knowledge. And then just explore everywhere. That's all I have to say.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much again for for everything. Thanks for that information. So at this point, we're going to be swapping out our commentators to get ready for the next game. And for those of you who are watching, make sure you guys stick around. We have a lot more action for the rest